This is your Barbados Today morning news update for Friday, November the 23rd. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Thanks for joining us. Topping the news at this hour, staff of the state-owned Rural Development Commission will start receiving their working papers today as part of government's restructuring program. After meetings yesterday with management and staff, Barbados Workers Union General Secretary Senator Tony Moore said all those selected for retrenchment, numbering about 20, should be gone by month end. The union had earlier expressed concern that the RDC had dishonored their last-in, first-out agreement by including long-standing employees on the list while retaining on the payroll workers hired as recent as July this year.
Our challenge to that list related to the fact that certain principles that were agreed during our meetings were not being observed, namely the principle of last in, first out. So at our meeting earlier this morning with the management, we reviewed the union's challenge, and at the conclusion of that meeting, the positions of the principle that the union honored were observed. So those challenges were recognized and the necessary changes put in place.
Meanwhile, some of the 78 retrenched workers going home from the Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation are expected to walk out of the doors of the CBC today for the final time as employees. Among the long-time familiar faces, radio personalities, and heads of department parting ways are veteran journalist Peter Thorne, head of news and current affairs Michelle Arthur, popular 98.1 radio DJs Dave Smooth and DJ Indian, and Director of Broadcasting Services Rosemary Allen, who is retiring. In other news now, the United Progressive Party is warning Barbadians to brace for an increase in taxes in light of government's decision to lower the domestic corporation tax rate and place it on the same level as that of international business companies. In a statement issued yesterday evening by the UPP's Public Relations Officer Wayne Griffith, the political party expressed disappointment at the move. Prime Minister Mia Mottley announced in Parliament Tuesday that effective January 1, 2019, all corporate entities in Barbados, with some exceptions, would be taxed on a sliding scale of between 1 and 5.5%, a major decrease from the current 25%. However, the UPP has called on the government to tell the country how the proposed changes would affect its revenues. Attorney General Dale Marshall is worried that the law courts are not bringing murder accused to trial fast enough. Marshall says he is even more concerned that this week alone, 8 additional murder accused applied for bail.
I have been informed by the Registrar of the Supreme Court that this week an additional 8 murder accused who were on remand have applied for bail. Now, this is something that concerns me greatly. When you can have 8 murder accused applying for bail, it means that the system has not been responding to the need to get their trials through as quickly as possible. So with the best will in the world, all that the police do, if at the end of that process when people are presented for trial, we are not in a position to deal with them effectively, then we have a problem.
Marshall, who was speaking on the sidelines of yesterday's opening of the Caribbean Financial Action Task Force plenary conference at the Hilton Barbados Resort, said he has been holding discussions with the Director of Public Prosecutions with a view to clearing up the backlog of cases before the courts.
I've had discussions with the Director of Public Prosecutions to see how we can effectively reduce, if not eliminate, the backlog so we can have trials moving quickly through. I had also directed her, well, I'm not able constitutionally to direct the DPP, but certainly we had discussions and she committed to trying to move the murder trials through the system as soon as possible and in fact to give them priority. It is perhaps not a well-known fact that we have in the region of 64 murder accused. It increases every day. 63 or 64 murder accused waiting for trial.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
We're back with news from the region now. Restrictions that impede air transport are being addressed at the International Civil Aviation Organization's conference in Guyana. This is expected to positively impact small Caribbean states. HGP-TV's Handel Duncan reports.
Among the things that International Civil Aviation Organization ICAO Air Transport meeting in Georgetown will focus on is the formulation of practical solutions to remove existing regulatory impediments to air transport liberalization. This focus, according to Secretary General of the Caribbean Community CARICOM, Ambassador Erwin LaRocque, is timely.
To the Community of Interest Principle, the COIP, with the designation of member states of a national carrier as a regional airline.
This is very important to the region, Ambassador LaRocque surmised, since the principle adopted by ICAO in 2013 makes the community more competitive with respect to international air transportation services.
Would like to apply that principle when the community enters into negotiations with third states with a view to obtaining flexible air transport arrangements. We seek your support in maintaining the COIP at the 40th ICAO Assembly scheduled for September 2019.
And on the international scene, U.S. President Donald Trump is warning of a possible government shutdown next month. Trump also suggests a potential showdown in Congress over funding for his proposed border wall. We pick up the story in this Reuters TV report.
The wall is just a part of border security, a very important part, probably the most important part. But could there be a shutdown? There certainly could, and it will be about border security, of which the wall is a part.
With hundreds of Central American migrants recently traveling toward the U.S. border to seek asylum, Trump has called their movement an invasion that threatens national security.
That's an invasion.
And said Thursday he had authorized the military to use lethal force on the border if necessary.
I've given the okay. Yeah, if they have to. I hope they don't have to. But, you know, you're dealing with a minimum of 500 serious criminals.
And that's news. But for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We are also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. Now you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Have a fantastic day.